everyone for being here today for our webinar concerning Tufin with DataGroupIT team. Thanks for being available today. So I'm going to introduce our product. So I'm Alex Ivalotto, Channel Account Manager for the South and West EMEA territory. So working mostly with partner and with DJIT in that case. And I'm with Sullivan, my pre-sales engineer, that will show you a quick demonstration of the product right after the presentation, so you can see exactly how we are working today. So regarding the product, first, to begin, we like to call ourselves the security policy company. Why? Because we are here to help you define and ensure who can talk to who and what can talk to what. You can switch to the next slide, Sullivan, please.
Yeah.
So the goal is really to help you to define and ensure exactly on your network who is supposed to talk with who and in which way. So it will depend exactly on which compliance maybe you need to respect. So I know that there is a lot of compliance like PCI DSS, ISO 27001, etc., that needs to be respected by company and enforced in order to be able to pass some audit. And historically, Tufin was here to help you pass some audits. So it's still part of our product, if we can say so. We didn't deny all we have done by the past, but the goal now is that we can help you to apply this compliance while improving your capacity to visualize and to check exactly what is contained into your firewall and even correct the situation when you are missing some points, or maybe there is some things that are not compliant and ready to go if ever you need to pass some audit in the next few weeks. You can switch to the next slide. Here is an example of our biggest customer in the world. So as you can see, there is a lot of big company, even if today we are launching and speaking more and more about the automation, if I can say so, the first issue and the first project that most of this customer had at the beginning, because for some they are customer and Tufin user for more than 8 or 10 years. So the beginning for them was around the compliance, the visibility, how to be able to check all of their firewalls around the world and check the configuration, which is good, which is not good. And now the automation is more and more a part of their business and the capacity to push new rules to correct all of the compliance issues that can occur during this audit part, etc., can now be solved way easier and way faster with a solution and a tool like Tufin. You can switch to the next. Next again.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, this one. So as today, and I won't learn you that because you are the one on the field that feel this every day. The network is exploding. We are opening new resources, new application, new server, new cloud environment, IoT, etc. And so what that means, it's that first, it helps to grow our attack surface. So the goal is that we have more and more assets to protect, more and more servers, more and more rules to define in our firewall to ensure that every communication is secured and visible, that we understand exactly how the network works and what is today your network and how it works and how things are interconnected between each other. So the goal is to help you to give you a unique tool, a single pane of glass to validate and to monitor all of your devices. So in a multi-vendor environment, there is a big interest to be able to digest all of the information and to tell you in the same way, okay, here is your configuration. This is the rules that are contained in your firewall today. This is the state of your network. And the goal is to help you to understand all of this information in the same way and in the same place. So we are gathering all the information and checking everything at the same time and in the same way. And it doesn't depend the vendor we are speaking about, Checkpoint, Cisco, Palo Alto, Fortinet, Azure, AWS, etc. The goal is really to help you to work on each environment like anyone, because you are dealing with Tufin to do the things, to check the informations, etc. You can go to the next slide. Next again, and one more. Yeah, encore. Et va au bout, s'il te plaît. Merci. So here is an example of our maturity model based on our three different packages that are proposed today. So for today, the main concern will be around the visualization, so the visibility and the compliance part. So with the Secure Track, the Secure Track Plus part, making you available to have the visibility on your full network to understand everything and to perform some cleanup, if I can say so, and to apply some compliance. So you will be able to apply, for example, some PCI DSS frameworks, etc., and check exactly if your rules are compliant and if your network is good regarding all the things that you need to respect. And at this stage, with the first part, the Secure Track Plus, so the beginning of a Tufin project, the goal is to offer you the visibility and the capacity to check exactly what is good, what is wrong on your network, and help you to choose and take some decision to correct the situation. So that's really the first part, the visibility and monitoring part. With the second part, with the Secure Change Plus part, we are going to be able to help you, to help you in improving your rule base. So the goal, and even open new access, modify existing access, etc. Once we have defined with Secure Track Plus what is your rule-based and what you need to respect today, for example, and confronting each other to check which rule is good or not. When the result is given that maybe a rule is not good, maybe on a compliance level or not secured enough on a pure security level, then with Secure Change Plus, we can help you to calculate improvement, rule improvement for your network in order to improve the security level by one side and the compliance on the other side. So we will every time propose you some new rules that are more secured and at least compliant to respect what you need to respect. Of course, we can make some exceptions sometimes, etc., because of some specific issues. But the goal is really also to help you to have a lot of documentation of information that are contained in the Tufin system to justify the specific case and explain exactly why you choose, for example, to put a rule that is not compliant, but maybe it's for a specific reason, a certain limited of time. And so with that, you can explain and justify all of your choices. And with the last level, we are launching the full automation. And the goal is really during this journey, if I can say so, to reach the maximum automation possible. As you can see, the goal is to deploy the security while being agile. And the goal is really to help you to define all of the processes that you want to apply in your company for your network and with your network team, explain everything, each step that are in the path, for example, to validate a new rule, to modify an existing rule, etc., and then help by automating most of the steps and even the final one to directly provision the rule on the network. So it's quite all regarding the pure sale presentation. Sullivan will switch on the demonstration. And if ever you have any question, don't hesitate to ask in the chat, and I can try to answer during Sullivan presentation if ever you have some specific question or specific things you want to see in our product. Don't hesitate to type it in the chat, and we will adapt. Sullivan, the floor is yours.
Oh, okay. So I will share the right screen. So can you see my screen?
Good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So the main topic is how to get a better visibility on the security policies of your hybrid devices, and how to operate them more easily and automate the daily task you might have on these policies to save you time and to make less effort around it. So what we do first, we will connect to the different device of your network. So we can connect with classic firewall vendors. We can do normal layer 3 device, router, switch, based on Cisco, Juniper. We also have private cloud with ACI. We can see VMware. We have public cloud also. So plenty of vendors we can interconnect with. The goal for us is just to create a service account with specific permissions, and we retrieve the configuration of the device. So we retrieve the rules, the object, routing information, interfaces, so all the context to get to our first target, which is get a better visibility of the overall environment. So as soon as we interconnect the device we need from our environments, we are doing a network map of it, so you can very quickly see what is interconnected with what. So if I zoom in, you can see there is some NS6, there is some ASA, FortiGates. We retrieve the routes, as I said, the interfaces, VPN information. And so this map is built based on all the devices we import on it. And this map is useful to make some analysis. So you will be able to verify, for example, from a source to a destination on a specific application or service. What is the path taken? Which device I'm crossing? What are the access that are open? So it's mainly a tool to quickly understand a situation, to troubleshoot, or also to simply just someone is asking to open a new traffic request. Is it already open? Do we have a routing issue? So it gives you more context on a specific flow. So I have some queries here already registered. So I will just pick one. So this one, for example, from this source to this destination, I want to have more context and understand what's going on. So if I load the query and I'm looking for a path, I can see my path is complete. And if I go from the start, I zoom in. So this is my starting point. And I can see I'm crossing a cluster of Palo Alto device. I see the device is in red. So it means there is no rule that is accepting my traffic. So here I already know something is blocking, and I know I will have to implement some rules here. If I want more details, I can check exactly the matching rule, and I can see here it's any drop. So it's normal, it's dropped, and there is no rule accepting. If I continue my path, I can see I'm crossing a cluster of Cisco ASA. Then I'm going through a router. If there was an issue with routing, I would see the path cut in between, and I would know I have to add a route on router R1, for example, and so on until I reach my destination point. So as you understood, it's very helpful to get like a quick overview of, am I going through the right device? Is my routing correct? Are all the access in the path allowed? Where do I need to implement new access? Am I going through the right rule? So all this context is given to provide you like very easily and very quickly information about your network. Still on the visibility aspect, having like a lot of different devices, a lot of different vendors involved makes it difficult to like collect information, do reporting, analyze some data. So what we do, we try to centralize the most information possible inside one and only platform. So we centralize first all the rules from all the devices you interconnected on Tufin. So here I have more than 6,000 rules from different vendors. So AWS, Checkpoints, Cisco, Forcepoint, Fortinet, and so on. And the goal of that is to be able to use some filtering. So we have plenty of different filters you can use, and it's based on what you want to retrieve. So I don't know, probably sometimes you are asked to retrieve some specific rules every quarter. And so you have to make a search on all the devices, check one by one, retrieve the information, then merge it to a single file to make it clear for the people that are interested by the information. And then you can share it and so on. But it's very long, it's very complex, and it's not such an interesting task. So what you can do, you can use filters, you can do big filters, and you can save your queries then to reuse them later. What we retrieve here, we retrieve the exact same field we have on the vendor. So if I go just display the checkpoint rules, we retrieve like the same sources, destination, services, application, the profile used, and we add some more data, like the last time the rule was used, last time it was modified, the permissiveness level of the rule. So if it's a bit too open, too exposed, and if the rule is shadow or not. And so, quick example, I would like to clean up my rules, my rule base. What I can do quickly, check if for all the rules that are shadow or the rules that are disabled or all my rules that were not used for the last year. And so very fast, I was able to put like a filter, and I'm able to identify like more than 200 rules that could be removed from my devices. And I go a bit a step forward, but what we can do here, we can select those rules and put them into a decommission workflow or disabling workflow to remove them directly from Tufin. So this will be later on, it will be like the remediation part. For the moment, we are just on visibility. So there is plenty of filter you can use. You can check all your rules with like permissive level. You can detail like what specific maybe source destination you are looking for. If you are looking for some specific tags, there is plenty to do here, and there is auto completion, and there is plenty. There is not only equal or not equal. There is plenty of things to do. We have a bit the same thing with objects, where you are allowed to browse like all the objects from your devices. And then, for example, if I need some more context on the following object, it will display me like all the devices containing the object. So here I'm on a specific ASA device. And what it will show me, it will show me all the rules containing this object. And you will also be able to display like all the groups containing this object. So for this one, there is no group, but you get the idea, like it's a browser for objects. And finally, regarding visibility, we are also checking all the changes that are happening on your devices. So we centralize everything right there, and you can see all your devices changing, when it happens, who is the administrator that performed the change, did he install the policy, did he save the policy, and that's it. And you can go a bit deeper and see the exact configuration at a specific time. So for example, if I go on for my checkpoints, I'm looking for the last revision. I can see the past revision for the last few months, and I can go inside the revision, check the policy. So I can see the rules, the NAT rules, the objects, and the main goal is to be able to compare the revision between each other. So it can be good to troubleshoot. For example, on Monday evening, my network was working fine. And then on Tuesday morning, I don't know, something happened and there is some connection issues. So I can compare the two last, and I will very quickly see, okay, this rule was added, this one was removed, maybe that's the problem. Then you can remediate quickly. It can be also very useful to audit. So for example, I want to know what happened on this device for the past 3 months, and you get all the changes that were performed on that device for the time period you specified. So this is the first aspect, this is the visibility part where we centralize all the data and you can manage to browse it quickly and get information very quickly from Tufin. Then what we want to do when we pass the visibility step is to start doing cleanup on the security policies of the devices. We want to remove like everything that is not used because it might be like a security issue to let some access open where we don't need them. And so we collect specific information like all the rules that are shadow. We collect also all the rules that are disabled from all the devices. Network objects that are created but not attached to any security rules. So it means they are not used. Groups that are empty, and network objects and services that are duplicated. So same IP, same subnet, but different naming convention. And so based on that, we can quickly see what we can improve on the different devices. So here it's the result for all my devices. So I can get like a global overview of the numbers. But if I select a specific device, I have the specific context that is detailed for this device. And if I want to go a bit further and check like the rule usage, the object usage, there is coming our reporting where you can specify, for example, a specific list of device. You can specify a specific period of time, for example, 4 months. And what we will do, we will check the device and tell you, okay, for these 4 months, what were the most used, the least used rules? So then you can replace them into the policy to place them to a better place, and it will improve the performances of the device. Then we can also show you what were the unused rules for the last 4 months. What were the objects that were not used for the last 4 months? And finally, rules that were used but containing unused objects. So it will look like this with the different categories. And I was talking about like used rule with unused object. I have an example just above. So here, for example, I have the 4 objects above 0%, so not used for 4 months. So what I could do, I could clone this rule, put it above this one, remove the unused object, and see if my new rule is properly matching my rule. And if that's the case, I can say, okay, I will disable this one because it's a bit open and I don't need it to be so open. So let's make a security effort on this one and just disable it and have a more specific rule defined above. So this is the first approach. to like remove everything not used, everything that might be like a security breach in your security policies. The last aspect of cleanup is also to optimize the rules. So by optimizing the rule, I mean, like, for example, you have some rule you identified as too permissive. So if I go in my policies and scrolling a bit, I can see some rules with like high permissiveness. So the maximum is 100, any accept. Here I have a 61. So I could say, okay, this one is a bit a mess. I don't know why we created this one. We need to like make it better and optimize it. And so what we do, we can check the logs coming into that rule. So the exact traffic, and we can check, for example, 1 month. You can choose a custom data also, but let's say we check for 1 month. At the end of this 1 month period, we will be able to give you a result of what is it to optimize. So if I go in, this is one job, one task. If I go into the results, the result will be based on a graph. And so you will see, okay, so initially I had one rule, very permissive. So on this part, it's the security. And on the bottom, it's the number of rules you can create. And so you can see the best option is to split the rule into 20 rules to have the best level of security. The issue there is that you don't want to have like tons of rules into your devices. So you have different points on the graph you can use. And the goal is to find the sweet spot between security and number of rules. So this one is good, for example, split it into 2 to increase security by twice the number. So I can see here, I have the rule I analyzed on the top, any in source, any in service application. And the suggestion is the following, to split it into 2 rules with a specific source. There is still any in protocol services, so maybe I'm not happy about this suggestion and I want to be to go a bit deeper. Then I can click on plus to have some more details and some specific services application specified. And you can also see the hit counts. So if you see only one and you monitor it for 1 month, you can say maybe it's not so useful to have this traffic allowed, and so we don't make a rule for this one. But like it's not fully automatic. Obviously, it's you guys that have the context, that knows the IPs, knows the subnet, and so there you can modify as you want. You can say, okay, we will regroup all of this into one specific subnet and then make one rule only and not create like 10 rules for it. And as you understood, if I deploy all the rules, I will come in the graph to the last suggestion, which was to create the 20 rules. This is the last suggestion. And that's it basically to help you like redefine your rules or even to build your security policies, because you can analyze a rule any accept and start to build your policy from that point. And that's it. So once you collected all the data to make cleanup on your device, you started your cleanup process and so on, there is another aspect you want to do on your policies to make sure they are compliant with what you want regarding security. So you want to ensure that all your policy you have created are respecting either a security standard like ISO, PCI DSS, and so on, or either your own PSSI, so your own security interests. And so for that part, we are able to create like different security matrices on different security aspects. And if I go inside one, you can see I have some specific zone dedicated. And so here you will be able to specify inside Tufin what are the zones of your network, what are the subnets, the IPs inside each zone. And from that point, you will be able to create matrices using the zones of your network. And the goal is to say, okay, from zone A to zone B, I never want to see any traffic pass. Or it's okay, I allow some traffic, there is no issue for me. Or you can say, I only allow certain applications, certain services, or I only block certain applications, certain services. And so, when you define all the interconnection between the different zones, you have your security matrix. We will check for all the rules we collected from all your devices if they are compliant with what you define there. And so we automatically do it. There is no someone connecting to the device, checking an Excel file. What are the rules from my company? Okay, rule by rule. Is this one matching? Okay, no, it's not matching. Okay, we need to correct this one. It's such a long process and it's not so interesting. So better to automate it and to spend some time on something more interesting. So as I said, you can create multiple compliance matrices, and then we check automatically which rules are not compliant, and we check for any new change. We can alert and say, oh, careful on this change, there is a critical violation from a matrix PCI DSS or from corporate matrix. So check on it. And so if I go back where we centralize all the rules, we have some more filter. So you can, for example, oh, I would like to see all the violations coming from my corporate matrix. Or I want to see all the violation from zone A to zone B. Or all the critical violation uh, on all my devices. And so if I click on one rule, I have a part dedicated for violations, and I can see, for example, okay, so here on my PCI DSS matrix, from zone corporate to zone PCI data, I should have no traffic at all passing, but here the rule is accepting any services. So it's not good. So that's it. And when you were able to configure compliance, then you have a tool that provides you better visibility, centralize all the information, give you the quick information to understand what is to be cleaned up on the security policies, and you can import inside the tool your compliance requirements, so we check it automatically. And so then we have a security policy much safer, very quickly and automatically with Tufin. The last part is the dashboard, so it's a bit around visibility, where you will get a lot of data like rules to clean up, rules with critical violation, highly permissive rules, what is to be cleaned up on the different policies, the improvement based on time to see if it's getting better and better, rule to optimize like best practices, rule with no name, no comment, not logged, improvement based on time for compliance to see if I'm better and better on my security needs. And finally, the full view of the violations. So which devices are the most violating my compliance, or which matrices are triggering the most violations. And so what's practical is that everything is clickable. So if I am interested by, okay, this device, I want to see like what are the violations for this device, directly we provide the right filter to show like where we collected the data, so you can directly consult it. So it's a good to have for visibility. So I finished with the first part, which is about secure track. So it's visibility, cleanup, and compliance. The second part I will introduce now is secure change. So as you understood, secure track is a read-only tool, because we just need like read access. We collect the configuration and then we get all the information. The thing is, when you are doing cleanup compliance, in general, you are doing it every 6 months, every year. And so you have to spend time on it to do the remediation, because we give you the information very quickly. And so you know what you have to do, but you still have to do it. There is someone that need to remove the rule, disable them, modify the one that are not compliant, and so on. So it takes time. And this is where secure change is coming. It's because we are entering a new journey. It's the journey of automation. And so the goal of secure change is to automate the process you have to do your daily tasks on your different security policies. So for example, opening new access, decommissioning servers, modifying rules, and so on. So all your use cases you have on a daily basis in your security policies, we will try to automate them so you can implement them way faster. And the goal is to have like a continuous compliance cycle. So your rules are always clean and compliant. So you don't have to do those compliance and cleanup check every year, every 6 months, because any new change will come with the right process. And so it will be already compliant with what you expect. So less talking and more showing. So secure change is a ticketing system. And so people will have some tickets, some tasks to perform. Here I'm connected as Henri Car, and so I have all the tickets from Henri Car. And if I go inside one ticket, for example, I can see, okay, I have to manage the step 5 of the process. Maybe I need to fill some field and so on. And then I click on done to go into the next step, and another team, someone else will have to deal with it. We have a part to make requests. So requests, people will be able to ask for server decommission, access decommission, open new access. There is plenty of use cases. And all those requests are based on workflows. So these are the core. This is the most essential part of secure change, is the workflows. So I will jump to it quite directly. Just so you know, we are a ticketing system, but we have plenty of APIs to connect to different other vendors and security vendors. And so we can connect to your own ticketing system. So we are transparent and you keep using your own tool, because it's quite annoying to like have a new tool and to force everyone to use it. No, we just interconnect with it, and so you can keep using your own tool. So getting back to the workflows. So we have workflows for different use cases. So opening new access, cloning security policies, decommissioning subnets, access, servers, modify, create group of objects, decommission rule, disable rule, modify rule, certify or decertify rule. And so these are all the actions we can perform automatically to your devices. So I will go into one example. So for example, access request. I created a workflow for access requests, for example, this one. If I go inside, I can see I have 8 steps. And so these steps represent each team that will need to be involved to go to the full implementation of the change. You can create as many steps as you want. The ultimate goal is to represent your way of working, your own process inside this workflow. And so it will follow like all your requirements and the full workflow you need to implement to make your change. And inside a step, someone will be responsible of the step. So it can be like a group of person, it can be one person, it can be multiple persons. We will display to the person what fields he will need to complete. So for example, here it's business approval. So the manager will have the required access and he will have a field to approve or reject, and will be able to put some comment. We have plenty of fields, so you can customize the workflow as you want. They can be like expiration date, text field you set mandatory for business justification, checkboxes, hyperlinks. So there is plenty you can add there. And finally, the most important is you can choose is the step manual or automatic. Manual, so the person will have to complete the fields, check the boxes, click on done, and it will move to the next step to another team. Automatic, it's the thing that will be working for you to accelerate the process and to save you time. The goal also is because on some companies there is plenty of changes happening very frequently, is to make less mistakes because people connecting to different devices, having to create the object, the rules, sometimes there are some mistakes. And so here the goal to automate is also to avoid those mistakes. And have a common language as well to perform the change to the different hybrid environments. So if you don't quite know how to work with NSX, you don't need because it's abstracted by Tufin, and so you just use Tufin and you can push your change to NSX and no problem, you don't need to be an expert into NSX, for example, to push your changes. So coming back to the interesting thing, what we can automate. So we can suggest for a specific access, what are all the targets where I need to implement a change. We can also check automatically, is the request compliant with my compliance matrices I just saw into SecureTrack? We can also suggest what design should be implemented. So we say, for example, okay, on the checkpoint, we need to create this object because it doesn't exist. We need to create this rule. Then on the Fortinet, we need to just add the SSH service in rule 28, and so on for all the devices in the past. So we suggest what has to be done. Then we can automatically push all the objects, all the rules to all the devices in the past. So you don't need to connect to each platform, create everything, create the rules, place it where it needs to be. No, we are doing automatically. Finally, we can apply the configuration to all the devices in the past. So it's in production, you commit them. And to finish, we verify automatically if everything was well implemented and if the traffic is open for the required access. And you can see it's my last step, verification. And once it's done, if everything is okay, the ticket is automatically closed and then we document everything. So you can keep track and audit all the changes that are happening on your devices. So quick example with like a real use case, so it will be more explicit. So access request, let's pick this one. So here, it's already a completed ticket. So I will just show you all the steps and what happened on this ticket. So step one, a user requested for access. Okay, fair enough. He submits his request, is going into step two. Step two, so manager needs to approve. One thing important is that if all the traffic for all these requests was already open, we directly close the ticket and specify to the requester it's already existing, so we don't have to do anything. We are closing your request. So you don't implement things 2 times, 3 times, and so it's a mess then in the policies. So, okay, it's not already implemented. Manager is approving, okay, he puts some comment, approved, fair enough. Then he will click done and it will go to the next step. Next step is an automatic step. You can see with the little A above the step. And we can see there we automated some tasks. So we see on which device we need to implement the change for all the access required. And we see the result of the compliance analysis. So if I click on the compliance check, I can see for all the access requests, it's in red, so they are not compliant. You have the full detail on which matrix is in violation, from which zone to which zone, and what is the compliance issue we have. So, okay, fair enough. So this is an automatic step, so it will directly go to the next step. Step 4 is risk and review approval from security team. So they receive the risk analysis review, and from that, they can say, okay, so we will close the case because it's not compliant with what we ask for. So they can close from now. They can say also, okay, let's ask the requester to add some application there because it needs to open for us. So they can go back to step 1, ask for the requester to change, to modify his request, and then it will go again into the process and go back to the security team when all the steps before were completed. Or what they can do, they can make an exception. So they will like put a comment on why they are doing an exception and why it is okay, and they will move on to next step. So step 5, network team involved. So network team, they need to implement the change. So they have the result of the designer. So if I click on it, I can see for all the devices what change has to be performed. So here on the Cisco, here it's already fully implemented, so it will tell you. But here, there is a network group to create. There is a rule to create. What the rule will be looking like. So, okay, it will be looking like this in my policy. And you can modify plenty of fields from there. So what you can do, depending on the vendor, you can choose there where you want to place the rule, what name will have the rule, what comment, what is the security profile you want to use, what is the logging profile you want to use. So plenty of things you can customize there. And when network team is happy about the change and the design, they will be able to push the change. So there is 3 different ways to push the change. There is the fully manual one where they connect to each device to create the rules and objects. There is the semi-automatic way where they will have a button right there to click to push the object and the rules to the device. And there is the fully automated way where they just will go to the next step and it will directly push the device to the device, the object and the rules. So we are going into step 6, which is commit. Same thing here. Either they connect to the device to commit, either they click from a button to Tufin to commit, either by going to the next step, it will commit. And we can even schedule it like I want my commit to happen on Tuesday evening at midnight and Thursday evening at midnight as well. And finally, verification. So we have the verification result. If I click on it, I can see here it's not all good, but here for the ASA, it's implemented from this administrator. This is the rule that was implemented. So all good. I can view if the map is okay. From source to destination, it's open. So okay, for this one, it was well implemented. If everything was green, as I said, the ticket is closed, and then we document everything. So you can go do some filtering and look for example, I would like to see all my rules, all my tickets concerning data center migration. Or I want to see all my tickets critical on the month of November. And then you can use the filter and check all the tickets that are matching your filter, go inside the ticket, see all the steps, go back to all the steps, click on the result of the different features I just show you so you can see what was suggested, what was added, which rule, what was done, and you can see the full history on the ticket. So you see who did what, on which step, and you have the full detail. And then we correlate all this information into secure tracks. So for example, here where I centralize all my rule, I want to see like what happened to a specific rule. So here I will just check for the rules with related tickets. So if I go into this one, I can see very quickly. Here I only have one ticket, so it was maybe just created with a ticket. But if there is plenty more, you can have the full context on what happened to the rule and why it is the way it is. So maybe it was created, then disabled, then it was enabled, then it was modified. So you have the full history on the rule. And that's it basically. So here you completed your journey to the automation. So from there, you have like a better visibility on your overall network and all your devices. You know what you need to clean up on your devices. You know all your rules are compliant with what you expect regarding security, and all your processes are automated, and you can spend more time on more interesting stuff than creating objects, disabling rules, creating rules, and so on. So here in Secure Change, I just show you how to open access automatically, but there is plenty more. Like if you want to decommission a server, for example, we tell you automatically which rule need to be removed on all the devices and which rule need to be modified. And then we do it automatically. So you don't have to check on your policies. Okay, where is this server? Okay, what do I need to do? Okay, step by step, then I do it for this firewall, then this. No, we automate the full process on all the devices concerned. So that's it basically for the presentation of today. I hope it was interesting for you and you learned some stuff. And if you have any question, hesitate to ask them in the chat. I will take a look to see if there is any question. Okay, so no questions for the moment, but yeah, don't hesitate. If you need to contact us or if you need more details, we are still there with Alexi to provide you the information you need.
Thanks a lot, Sullivan. So thanks, everyone. I don't know if on the JT side, maybe Diane wants to say some words. If you want more details or information, or even you want to go further, some question or another demonstration session, sorry, don't hesitate to reach out to DataGroupIT team, and so we can plan this together and check exactly how we can help you all together in a channel way.
Just to add in, we will be sharing a mailer with the recording of the webinar and also just a quick survey for you to take after the session. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Have a
nice
good
day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, team Alexi, Sullivan, Diane, and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.